Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am your host of the Spiritually Motivated and Inspirational Podcast. And the question is, what does the 10 degrees refer to? In 2 Kings 20 and 10, and Hezekiah answered, it is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, let the shadow return back 10 degrees. Now that particular verse had me going for quite some time. And I understand that there are a lot of mathematicians and engineers who will have a better understanding of what that means. But I was having a dickens of a time trying to figure that out. Now, when I look also with some of the different answers of other study or teachers or ministers alike, and said, behold, I will bring again the shadow of the degrees, which is gone down in the sundial of Ahaz, 10 degrees backwards. So the sun returned 10 degrees, by which degrees it was gone down. So again, I'm wondering, what on earth is this 10 degrees? So I did a little research and tried to get an understanding. And I saw this one question: how long is 1 degree on a sundial? Now, they stated on a typical day, if we thinking about a circular path around the earth, one such path on a day in an early fall or late winter, as shown below, the sun will move 360 degrees divided by 24 equal 15 degrees. So again, they're saying that 360 degrees divided by 24 will equal 15. So we thinking the revolution of the earth, the 24-hour period of the day, will equal 15 degrees. And they further stated that in an hour along this circular path, this means that it takes 4 minutes to move 1 degree. 4 minutes. So every 4 minutes, the earth is moving in a rotation in the atmosphere. So I did my own little calculations to try to gather a better understanding of what is 10 degrees. So I broke it down. 4 minutes, okay, we learned it's 1 degree. 8 minutes is 2 degrees. 12 minutes is 3 degrees. 16 minutes is 4 degrees. 20 minutes is 5 degrees. So I'm thinking, okay, if 5 degrees is 20 minutes, then 40 minutes would equal the 10 minutes. So if we're thinking about daylight savings time, they move our degree, so to speak, our 1 hour back for the spring. For the fall and winter, and springing up in the summer, and for the spring and summer. So I'm like, okay, this is slowly making sense. I'm still, looking and seeing what this was all about. So I am figuring, and it also have been stated that 1 hour is 1 degree. Or, 1 hour, they have measured it, and I did have it here, but all of a sudden it disappeared from me. But anyway, when I was learning this and when I was retrieving this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes sense to me now. This is an amazing thing to learn, that 5 degrees equal 20 minutes. And if you take that times 4 or 3, which would be 20 minutes for 20 minutes is 5 degrees. 40 minutes is 10 degrees. 60 minutes is as we continue on is 15 degrees. So it's 15 degrees for 1 hour. Okay, that began to make sense to me because I was really going through, because math was not my strongest point or my strongest thing in school, especially when it became a little bit more complicated with things of this nature. Basic math, yes, because I've been a cashier. I have been a cashier for over 20 years. So basic math, I got. When it gets into these technicals, that's when I started having my struggles. So I was not what they call considered a math whiz like my 2 boys are. My daughter is pretty good at math too. She just don't like math, but she's really good at math. But anyway, as I continue on, what does the Bible say about a shadow? And as we look, God was stating, my greatest desire is that whenever my shadow falls behind me as I walk, may whatever it falls be blessed. God dwells in the shelter of the Most High, which rests in the shadow of the Almighty. You know, God wants us to have shelter in the Almighty. And this is actually Hezekiah. I'm so sorry. And then David, I believe, was the one to say, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. And so this is very important for us to understand that how technical this was. Now, if we recall, Hezekiah was sick. He was very ill. And God had told the prophet to go and tell him that, you know what, your days are kind of numbered here. So you might want to set your house in order. And Hezekiah cried out. He cried out and he wept. Well, in doing so, the prophet went back and told him, and they said, go ahead and tell him that he heard his cry and that God will heal him and bless him and give to him another 15 years to his life. That's a blessing within itself. So I was trying to make the connection. Why 15? 15 is very prominent number here. Because as we look, that we did the calculation of the 15 in the degrees. And so mankind and scientists of today is using that resolution for the earth and on its axis, that every 4 minutes there is a rotation, and that is of 1 degree. Something you never get too old to learn. And that was something that I found very interesting, to say the least. And so when we look at the importance of what God is doing in our lives, we need to understand also what he is speaking of. That way, when we read it again, I say, oh, I remember what that means. And then it all starts making sense. That's why we always have to study to show thyself approved, because we won't get it the first time. We won't get it after the 15th time. We will not get it after the 25th. We won't get it all. but we will have a better understanding of what it is that God is speaking of. Now, if we go to the book of 2 Kings, the 20th chapter, and I'm just going to start at verse 4, and it said, "And it came to pass afar, Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus saith the Lord, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee, and on the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Lord, and I will add unto thy days 15 years. I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Hazarah, and I will defend this city for my own sake and for my servant David's sake." So even then, God was still keeping his promise to David, even through all of what was going on. However, we must always pay attention to those little details. And it was very interesting to me in verse 9 when it was stated, and Isaiah said, "The sign shalt thou have of the Lord, and the Lord will do the thing that he hath spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or go back 10 degrees?" So it was a question that was asked. Is it going to move forward 10 degrees or that 40 minutes? Or is it going to move back 40 minutes? That is crucial because God has his hand on time. If we remember when Joshua was in the middle of a battle, Joshua prayed out to God that the sun did not go down until they complete that battle. And I believe that when my son had asked me, does the Bible speak of daylight savings time? And I said, not directly, but let me check and see. That's where study to show thyself approved comes in, because that is technically when daylight savings time did take effect. God was the one who originated daylight savings time. He held the sun in the air until the battle was done. No one else could do that. No one else has done that. No one can pretend like they can do it. The sun is always going to go down when it's supposed to go down, and it's going to rise when it's supposed to rise. Only God can stop time. And this was an amazing event. So 2 miracles. Joshua had the sun to remain up in the sky until they completed their battle. Hezekiah had 15 years added into his life. Now, if we look at 15 years was also mentioned in the studies in regards to the sundial. The sundial is how they told time. You know, like there was hourglasses. There was a sundial that it was almost like a compass, seen as some sort. That this is what they use. Now, if we go and look a little further, on a given day, the sun appears to move in approximately circular path about the earth. And so that 15 degrees is an hour along the circular path. So 15 is considered an hour. It all makes sense. Now, Hezekiah was given 15 years added onto his life. That 15 is very significant. Do not know how significant it is to God, and I haven't gotten in that depth of that detail but it does make sense. So, again, that question is that I was working on, and it really just kind of got into my crawl a little bit. What does the 10 degrees refer to? That 10 degrees of just shadow, whether moving forward or backwards, whether moving life 30, 40 minutes behind, back it up 40 minutes, or 40 minutes ahead. Which way will that time go? And again, we understand that God is in control of time, not man. This was very intriguing for me. It was very exciting to learn because I learned something new. I learned more about the sundial and about the degrees within the resolution of the earth and how it spins, and that the rotation of the earth spinning, the sun sets still, the moon sets still. We are believing that the sunrise and sunset is that the sun and the moon is moving. No, it's not the sun and the moon that's moving. It's the earth that's moving. We're just moving in such a resolution that we don't realize we're moving. But it's not the sun, moon, or the stars that's moving. It's the earth. And the earth's circular rotation is causing us to see the sun rise and the sun set. But it's not the sun and the moon and the stars, because if we go back into the Word of God and we take a look at that, the Bible said the sun sets. The sun, the moon, and the stars are set. And if we get that notation in our mind, when they say sun set, what is that meaning? That it is setting. It's not going anywhere. It's not moving as we are believed that it's moving. It is actually the earth rotating. So again, my question of the day, or my question is, what does the 10 degrees refer to? It is referring to time. And in the degree, or the measurement of the degree, is 40 minutes ahead or 40 minutes behind, if that shadow would return or go back. This is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.